Big round of applause. We have Mr. George Fear speaking tonight, guys. A big supporter of North Jersey ever since I was a toddler in diapers. George gives us a magnificent talk with magnificent technology to support that talk. Our sponsor shop is Pets Place 2, a great shop. Big round of applause for Pets Place 2. April 3rd, our giant fish auction coming up Sunday, April 3rd. Check our events page and our Facebook page for the wish to buy list, and you'll see what people are asking to bring, and maybe you have a whole basement full of fish that you might want to bring to this thing, and there's a good idea maybe to choose how to pick out what fish people are interested in. Like I said, Florida trip, Wednesday, May 4th, but we're actually leaving Tuesday, May 3rd. Through Saturday, May 7th, Seagrass, Watley, Imperial, outdoor fish stores, nights in Miami, and what else but Chuck Davis. Another little bit of news, our Twitter account, big thanks to Mike over here, Mike Swamp Guppy. Pickles! I love it. It's a funny story, it really is. So I just want to make an announcement. Our good friend Joe Graffinino, who is president of the Brooklyn Aquarium Society, is also a writer, as you probably have heard. And he just actually wrote fantasy and horror short stories by J.A. Graffinino, and he actually made the book out to me. He's got some great stories. He has a book called The Journey of Mary and May Lee, which was a wonderful fiction story. So when you see Joe, he's somewhere in the melee here, and pick up a book. It's a great read.
Here's George on his talk on collecting in Venezuela, right?
Right. All right. Thank you, Yanni. This is a map of South America. Doesn't show the countries. It shows all the major rivers. The Amazon, obviously, is in the middle. Let's see if this goes. Okay, here's the major Amazon. To the south, we have the Piranha, which drains down through Bolivia and Argentina. And up here, we have the Orinoco, which starts up here and drains down through Venezuela. Venezuela is this chunk of South America that sits right here. This is a map of Venezuela. All right. The lines on this map are all rivers. So when the one northeast corner of Venezuela is just filled with rivers. So if you go collecting fish, what do? You get in a boat. This is how we tend to get around, all right? We go down. I got a couple of good friends down there, and we get on the major rivers. We drive as far south as we can. We hire a boat locally, and then we get off the major rivers, and we get into the small stuff like this. And there's no road maps. You just look at a map and figure out what you can get to and what you can't. That black box was how we secured things. The first day of every trip I'd go down, we'd go to what he called the farm, and we'd load the black box, and then onto the truck. And then we'd put into the black box fishing poles, cameras, tents, sleeping bag, nets, everything else, and it got locked up. And every time we went through an Army-regulated roadblock, which is about once every 20 miles, 3 or 4 a day, they'd always walk around the truck and go, "What do you got in the black box?" So it was a show and tell, and we'd unload, show them things, and give them a business card, give them a hat, and say, "Yeah, we're stupid educational people taking underwater pictures," and they would let us go. Accommodations are not exactly what one would like to find in what we're used to in New Jersey.
That's about how I
Yeah. I noticed the cardboard and the window on the left, the one light bulb. But that was a step up from other places. We used to camp out a lot. And every trip it was, okay, where does the rod go? Does it go on top of the tent or under the tent? And this tent leaked like a sieve. I don't know why we bothered. Caracas is the red dot in the top of the country, very easy to get into and get out of. But if you're going to any of the other major rivers to explore it, you're at least 8 hours away. This is the Atabapo River, which is way in the southern part that flows into the Orinoco. It's low water season. The river is about a mile wide, if you will, and you could walk across. It's no more than ankle deep at this time of year. Beautifully soft, crystal clear water. And we saw this spot on a map, and we actually saw Google Earth. I found this little creek because of the white sands, and we traced it down. and it's one of the clearest, best collecting areas I've ever been in. So we get a lot of good footage out of here. This creek, as you can see, was maybe 5-6 feet across, and it was wider at this point because the locals take this clear water and they use it as a swimming hole or a bathing hole or a washing machine hole. But underneath it, you have a big aquarium. You know, you see tetras swimming with those nice festive in the background. There's another large tetra in the back. Geophagus in the lower right there. A lot of severums. And the longer you stayed down and stayed and didn't disturb this, all of this action just swam around you. Each of the areas like this have different biotypes, all right? If you're a cichlid, you kind of control the middle. If you're a tetra, you're really into the shallow water because you're outnumbered in your lunge. There's a wolffish just coming down to nestle right here, Malabaricus, common wolf, right here. Not afraid of anybody. But the cichlids are obviously the predominant family of fish there. This is all done with an extended snorkel and a little breath holding sometimes. There's another wolffish down here on the bottom right here. And notice how everybody kind of lives together. In a few seconds, you'll see cardinals in the same big aquarium with wolffish and all these cichlids. And I'm sure there's not as many as there were when they were just spawned and hatched and ever, but they're all in here together. The festivum were just beautiful in here. They're so yellow until they're in breeding colors, and then you'll see they'll turn black. These big yellow acaras get a red belly in them when they get mature. Thinking to yourself, what are these guys eating? You know, nobody's dumping tetramin in the water every day. And besides eating each other, you know, that's not the answer to most of them. There's microscopic food all over the place. A nice little tetra right here. There's a better shot of later. This is a nice tetra right here. So I don't know what these guys eat. This is Iguanodectes tetra. Where the current got a little stronger because it got narrower, the current picked up, that's where you'd find those tetras. They wanted that current. And if you think about aquariums again, which is what kind of always goes through my mind, you go, gee, how much current do I have in my tank? Gee, look at what these guys, and there's no highly oxygenated. But again, concentrate on the water quality, the current, little pikes. This is not the same species of pike as those other larger ones were. This is a dwarf of some kind. And nobody cleans this aquarium very often either, and they don't seem to mind. It's like my tank's home, as a matter of fact. I try to duplicate this. Now, back over in the open area, you have other fish. Now, this is a Nanostomus, a pencilfish, in here, and you see other fish grouped together, and they go out and cross the big open area. And this water is no more than maybe 2 foot deep there. Particularly interesting was the Geophagus. There was some Cernamensis types and the daemon, and I could sit and watch them sift sand through their gills all day long. The wolffish, because they're predatory, nice little tetra, would lay down in this grass and ambush tetras like this as they swam by. Kick him up. That's a nice, it's got to be an epistogram of some kind. Nice little fish. Nice little fish. I'm using an underwater camera with a Sony Nex 7, which shoots stills and video. And it's in a waterproof box. Some nice cardinals here. Again, right next to the pike, next to all the cichlids. You know, a little off on the side, but that's where they'll live. That's where God just gave them the instinct to hang out. And I don't see very well underwater, and the aperture in this camera is about a ½ inch square, and so it is impossible for me to see what I'm shooting at. And so for me to get it, there's Oliver's feet. For me to get a shot, and have the fish actually in the middle of the frame, there's a lot of footage and editing to get that. Festivum in the wild are just a very, very, very docile, nice fish. Most of the times, you will see them spawning. It's spawning coloration and this male here. I looked for eggs, I remember, but they weren't on a nest or anything. But you'll see them coming up. You'll see a shot on what they feed on. And it's all this mossy type, dirty, crappy stuff. And he's going to go right over and eat right on cue here. I want to take a bite. Well, nothing there, but you know there is right there. So he's seen something. Oh, thank you. There's someone eating in the background. So there's very small, I'll call it microscopic stuff that they're picking on. This is a basket mouth cichlid, Catobranchus or Catobranchopsis. I think Oliver and I did a species count of this hole, and I think we approached 125 different species of fish. But it's just a couple hundred yards down where it got maybe 10 foot deep or something. And of course, you got big Johanna pike down here, and those Severum there were 8 inches, let's say, in diameter. Red tail Acistoranchula, Barracuda. And you had greens in here also, which is kind of interesting. I remember the Severum being just so big. Because again, I can't go very deep here, but they're way below me. Just teeming with life. But notice also that everybody tends to stick together. You're a Severum, I guess you know what you look like, and you hang out with the Severums. Geophagus tend to hang out with the other Geophagus. Acistoranchus there. I will come up with the name of that fish in a minute. Zah, you know what that is? Yeah, Leporhinus, thank you. Spotted Leporhinus. Corydoras concolor. This body of water was about 2 foot wide and ran down across the Llanos. Venezuela is covered with morchals, and a morchal is just a little stream that just comes out of the ground, runs across the plains. Some palm trees go next to it, and they run together into a river and whatever. But the water is always clear, so that we spend a lot of our life just, you drive across, you see them all over the place. Now this is another body of water, totally different type of water. It stunk. It was, when we hit this body of water, Ivan went one way and I went the other. And we should learn not to do that. It took about 2 hours to find each other. But there was just very little flow, dissolved oxygen, very little, algae, very lot, and the biomass, very little. If you don't have oxygen, you don't have a lot of life. It just doesn't support it. For some reason, this footage got rendered in slow-mo, probably because they wanted just to see the fish. But there were some tetras in here. But again, notice the algae, the low oxygen content of the water. Just different biotopes. In our aquarium, if you went to all of our houses and looked at all our aquariums, it would all look the same. But that's not nature.